Well, welcome back, founders. This afternoon, I have the pleasure of speaking with Jessica Villegas, who is the founder and CEO of Hi-Lite Coaching and Consulting. She deals with a very important topic, which is the youth, the generation that I don't know much about. So important for our future. And I really commend her for spending as much time as she does with this group of people. They're our future. It's so important to be dealing with them. And I really look forward to diving into that with her this afternoon. Welcome, Jessica. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, my pleasure. Where are you calling us from? That's where I start with everybody. Where are you at? I know where you're at, but why don't you let everyone else know?
So I'm just outside of Orlando in the Windermere Winter Garden area.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And did you grow up in this area?
No, I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina.
Okay. And where you were just with your kids.
Yeah.
And so you're raised in South Carolina. Do you want to go into that detail? So what was your home life like? I personally know, but it really goes in apropos for what you do for a living. Uh,
Yeah.
do you mind
Yeah.
going into some detail with that? So
No, not at all. It's such a huge piece of why I do what I do.
yeah.
Um, so, yes, I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina, born and raised. I moved to Central Florida when I was 21, or just before I turned 21. And
Okay.
up until the point where I graduated high school, I had moved 27 times.
Wow.
Inside of that period, I experienced and saw and went through a lot of trauma, a lot of misguided, misdirected experience between my community, my family members, friends. And when I was a freshman in high school, my dad went to prison. And a few months later, my mom went to drug rehab. And
Mm.
this was like a prime time in my life when I really needed to get clear on who I was, what I
Yes.
wanted to do with my life, and um, how I was going to go about doing that. And it was a very difficult period for me. So I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing. It's a miracle that I graduated high school, but I did, and I eventually figured it out. And the formula that I used to figure it all out and create success for myself into young adulthood, into my corporate experiences, and now into my business is what I help young people get um, experience around for their own lives so they can be successful as young adults.
So when you're man, I mean, a freshman in high school, I mean, that's hard enough on its own. Um, so and you had no siblings, right? No siblings to lean on. You're an only child.
I was an only child until I was 21.
Okay. Wow. So yeah, I mean, basically an only child. What, so the what? Then your mom had a child when you were 21?
She did.
Okay.
She had my brother when she was homeless, and in
My God.
her, uh, on and off the streets, living in hotels.
Oh my
My
God.
brother was born. Yeah.
So who raised you after in your freshman year? Like after when your mom goes to drug rehab, your dad goes to prison. Where did you live? I know you said 27 times. Is that what the 27 times was? Because
No, I mean, that was through my whole entire childhood up
okay.
until I graduated high school. But all throughout my life, I was kind of the family hot potato.
Wow.
I lived with my grandma, then my other grandma, and then my other grandma, and back with my dad, then back with my mom. And the cycle, it was just like that for
Yeah.
all 18 years. But when my parents were off, I went and lived with my mom's mother
Okay.
and did that for a period of time before I went back with my dad's mother.
Okay.
And, you know, it continued through graduation. Yeah.
Wow. At that point, did you know what you wanted to do? Did you know you were going to be helping youth then, or
Oh, absolutely not. I just knew I
okay?
didn't want to do what my parents were doing.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. I did not know what it would look like for me to not be in Beaufort anymore. I knew I wanted more. I knew that I was destined for more, but I had no clarity on what that would be.
So both sides of your family were in Buford. That mean your grandparents? Your
Yes. Yep. We were all there.
you were all there. Okay. Are they still? Is your family still there?
My mom is.
Uh-huh.
My dad, I don't really have too much other family there, some distant cousins and things.
Are you close with your parents now? Or
No, I
oh,
don't have a relationship with my parents. I just started texting with my dad again after 5 years of estrangement, but it's just better for me to keep that at a distance because the behaviors that they haven't changed.
oh man, no
Yeah,
growth. I
yeah.
can't believe the person you become with all of that. I'm proud of you for that. So what, so then, okay, you graduate. You said it was hard to, but you did graduate. What happened next for you, Jessica, in your life? What did you do next?
Well, I after graduation, I went to the local technical college of the Low Country, and I had a
Uh-huh.
few jobs. I ironed for a very wealthy family. I taught dance lessons, and I
Oh,
worked at
you're
a
a
local.
dancer?
I am
Oh, that's great. What type of dance?
ballet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Ballet. That is so difficult. Did you do that all through all of this? Did you do it as a child? And
it was kind of my escape. I would
yeah,
clean the. I had an agreement with the local dance studio that I would clean and teach lessons to the little kids
yeah.
in exchange for my tuition. So I lived at the studio as much as possible.
Oh, wow. Good
Mhm.
for
And
you.
that was in high school. But then once I graduated high school, I started teaching, and that was part of my income.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Wow. What a difficult way to dance, too, by the way. Man, you sure picked one. With the strain on your feet. Uh,
Yeah,
it's but beautiful, by the way. But uh,
yeah,
it's beautiful to go to the ballet. I live in Chicago, and we've got great ballet here. But man, the strain that those women go through with their feet, I don't know how they do it on their
yeah.
tippy toes like that. That's awesome that you did that. Okay, so you go to a technical school, and then you're teaching dance. So what did you do next? Did you know you were going to? Uh,
Yeah, so I mean, I did about a year and a half in the local technical college
uh-huh.
after graduating, and then I saved my money and came to Central Florida with the hopes of
Oh,
going to University of Central Florida, UCF.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. UCF. And then what did you study there?
Organizational communications and leadership studies was my ultimate degree, but before that, I did a number of other things trying to figure it out once again. So I
Yeah.
have about 365 credits.
Oh, wow. You're a student for quite a while.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And so then you graduate finally from University of Central Florida, all those credits later. What did you go into work to do? What did you start doing with your degree?
Well, up until graduation, I worked in hospitality.
Uh-huh.
So I did all sorts of different things in hospitality from, serving to
I love it.
managing and
Yeah.
training. And I worked
Yeah.
for Lowe's hotels. And then after I
Lowe's
graduated,
Hotels is where you worked?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
And then after graduation, I started up in supply chain. So I worked for a number of organizations, a pallet company. I worked for a live events organization, and I ultimately um, finished up my supply chain experience in transportation sales. So I was doing like intermodal stuff, international, all sorts of different modes of transportation to move
Uh-huh.
goods from, everywhere from Shenzhen, China
Oh,
to
wow.
Guam, from California, all kinds of things. That was really fun.
Yeah, so yeah, you would be great at sales. You've got the personality for it. And so you went from sales, and so you were obviously probably successful at this, correct? Doing
Mhm.
this. So
Yeah.
then why not stay in sales? That's quite a career to have, you know. What made you come out of that lucrative sales job?
So my time spent in supply chain specifically, and a little bit when I
Hmm.
was in hospitality management, I noticed young people really not doing well when it came to getting a job, holding a job, being
Yeah,
professional in a job. And I started to do some root cause analysis around where should we be focusing on helping young people be better, more well-developed young adults. And
yeah,
and then simultaneously started to pair that with my own struggles and when I needed help, what age I needed help that would have helped me as a young adult, and pair
yeah.
that together, the lack of confidence and clarity and direction that I was seeing in young kids coming out of college or getting their first jobs. I paired that with my own lack of confidence, clarity, and direction as a teenager,
Yeah.
and then started dabbling in some like neuroscience research, teenage brain development, and realized, in the education system, we're not having these conversations with young people.
No, not at
And
all.
we were in the height of the pandemic at this point,
Yeah.
and young people and their mental health and, taking their lives started to really hit the forefront of everything
Yes.
as they're locked in,
They're isolated.
getting
Yeah.
their education. So
And you had children at this point, obviously, correct? Yeah.
yeah,
You said
yeah,
you have an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 7-year-old?
I do. And at the time, that was about 6 years ago when I started
Yeah.
making all these connections, and I was seeing, local families that I knew struggling. So I
Mhm.
started to just do this on the side back in 2020. And
Okay.
after about 2 years of doing that, I quit corporate, and I was just obsessed with finding ways to help these families with their teenagers, to help these teenagers.
Mhm.
The dark side of severe mental health issues inside of a family with a teenager is crippling,
Mhm.
not only for the parents, but also for the teen. And
Yeah.
when I was 14, I made an attempt, and I had no
Oh
one there
no.
for me. And I went
Oh,
through that alone. I
oh my
went through
gosh.
all of it alone. And so I could relate to that feeling of not being worth, you know,
Yeah.
anything and not feeling like there was any hope. And at such a prime age in life, right, when things should be enjoyable and you should be grabbing all that you can to learn and
Yeah.
grow,
Yeah.
to have to deal with that is it's just not acceptable. So I left the corporate world and pursued it full time. And to date, we have a ton of services, and I have 12 coaches on my team, and we've helped thousands of young people
That's
in a
wonderful. So
variety
how
of
did you
ways.
start it? How'd you go about it? Because that's the big question I ask people when they're entrepreneurs is what was the big jump first? Like, was there an aha moment or was it like, okay, because you have children to take care of. It's a big
Yeah.
risk to start this.
Hmm.
You have a very secure, successful job. Um, and then you just take this leap. Is it also because your kids were becoming teenagers too? Like, if it's 6 years ago, if it's during the COVID time, your oldest is 12, right? Oh no, so 6 years old. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 12. Here, is it a he or she?
She.
She. Oh, you said all girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So critical time in her life.
Hmm.
Um, and clearly you want to be there for her like no one was there for you. Um, so how do you go about starting something like this? What do you do? Like did you go to your local chamber of commerce and tell them you wanted to start helping kids or local guidance counselors or
Well, in the very beginning, I was
yeah.
taking clients and I was advertising on Facebook in,
Oh, okay.
community groups. And I was doing this on like a lunch hour or after I would get off of work. So it was very
Oh,
small
wow.
in the beginning. But when I did finally take the leap, I still didn't have a lot of clients, but I had a whole lot of conviction. And
Wow.
I was just obsessed with it. I couldn't focus on anything. And doing my 9 to 5, which provided for my family, was grueling. It was to the point that I just like, I couldn't even concentrate on my work because I was
Ah,
so passionate about this thing that I knew my
yes.
community needed. So, uh, and I had my own struggles with my teenager when she hit 13 and 14.
Mhm.
So her mental health had some issues. She had some issues there. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I just,
Is their father in the picture? Are you married? Was that?
I was at the time. So we did
Yeah.
have a stable income. I was able to do that.
Right, because he was able to help. That would help.
Yeah.
Um, and so when you start doing this and you're starting to help teens, okay, and you're on Facebook, you're reaching out on Facebook, and what are they coming to you for initially?
I mean, at that time or just in
Yeah,
general?
at that time, at that time.
At that time, they were coming to me for just general coaching, just
Okay.
giving them clarity, developing better habits, improving their mindset, improving their limiting beliefs, things like that. And this was before I had my ETA framework built. So
Okay.
the first couple of years I spent building what I experienced as the solution for my own life to gain
Yeah.
clarity and success.
Hmm.
And that took some time.
Yeah.
So now what parents come to us for is very different than what they used to come to us for.
Yeah. 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 Do you want to go into the framework?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, please.
I mean, it's very simple without giving it all away.
Right.
We are teaching young people to run their lives like any wildly successful corporate enterprise would.
Hmm.
So, having a solid understanding of your values, having a solid understanding of where it is you want to go in life, which in the corporate space is called a vision, and having a solid mission statement. How are you showing up each day, executing your values as you move toward, seeing your vision through to fruition? So that includes things like how you're managing your time and
Yeah.
how you're setting goals and breaking them down, and a lot of internal dialogue hurdles that you have to overcome because you're comparing yourself to everyone else, or you're
Yeah.
comparing yourself to the dream your family or your teachers have for you that
Yeah.
resonate.
Hmm.
So we take them through a lot of different exercises, but using a coaching approach. So when you're working with anyone and you are telling them what to do, it's very natural for them to resist.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if I like that idea, or it doesn't work for me. I don't want to hurt their feelings, those kinds of things. So we aren't advisors or mentors, so to speak. We are coaches. So
Yeah.
we take that lesson and we have them build it around how it would work for them in their life, and
Hmm.
ask them how they're using it, how they're not using it, how they could be using it better,
Ah,
how this might affect this struggle they're having over there. Well,
yeah.
your top five values and the choice that you made, which value is represented in that choice?
Ah, that's great.
If it's a good choice, great. There probably is a value or
There
two or
probably is
three.
one. Yeah.
But if it was a poor choice, they probably forgot to consider their values in the moment when they did that. So
Yeah.
creating a lot of self-awareness inside of the framework that we
And
use.
accountability.
Mhm.
That's the big one, accountability with any person. How
Self
old are these people when they're reaching? Now, first of all, are they reaching out to you, or is it their parents, or is it both? How are they reaching out to you?
It's typically the parent.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of teenagers out there who are like, I want to work on myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I figured it was the
They don't
case.
know what they don't know. So they definitely aren't looking for us. It's the parents who know they need something and they're not quite
Hmm.
sure what it is. And maybe they've tried therapy, or maybe they've tried lecturing until the end of time,
Yeah.
and none of them have
Tried
worked.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so how do you start with them? Is it your framework? Is it, I know you said that you're asking them a lot of questions and their goals and their mission statement. How often are you meeting with your clients?
Well, when we're doing our private programs, so we have a
Yeah.
few different ways that
Oh
we do
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Please tell me.
Um,
Mhm.
we do private, we've got groups, and then we have a mentorship program that we're building for youth serving organizations and school districts. So
Mhm.
that is a little bit different, but it's still the same framework. The mentorship program embeds trauma informed approach, and it stretches out what is typically a 10 to 14 week coaching program into 10 months.
Oh
So
wow.
very intentional and slow. But when
Yeah.
we're working one on one with a client privately, we're of course doing an intake to discover what it is they're looking to achieve and improve in their life. It could be anything from figuring out what I want to go to college for,
Right.
or I'm not making a lot of friends, or my grades aren't doing well, or I'm struggling in my relationships with my parents, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Even
All of the above.
high performers. If anybody needs it, they do,
Yeah, I
because
was going to ask you about it. Do you get a lot of high performers that?
yeah, we get a lot of everything.
Hmm.
High performers, middle of the road, struggling, um, been in trouble, never been in trouble. We get a
Yeah.
lot of everything, but in those first handful of sessions, we're meeting with them every week, even if it's in a group, and we are spending intentional time getting
Mhm.
clear on where we're at, what worked last week, what didn't work, how we can make adjustments to whatever that thing is that we worked on last week, and
Yeah.
move forward with action-based approach, right? So this isn't about like how are you feeling, or tell me about a time when. Sometimes those questions will come up because we want to know, did that action feel good or did it not feel good? But
Yeah.
we're being very intentional around creating action steps so they can go right away today and use what it is we're talking about.
Yeah, that's great. They can apply it right away.
Mm.
Um, what's this generation of children and young adults? Um, I'm hearing, and I've had other conversations with other podcast guests about reaching this generation, and because it's so different than the other generations, certainly different than mine. I came from a generation where you just did what you were told, basically, and
Yeah.
you didn't ask questions. Your elders were very highly respected, and you just that's if that what they said went, you know what I mean, and that's not what this generation, from what I'm hearing in the workforce, like, I know for a fact the ones I've had to hire, it's certainly not the case. And they're on their phones all the time, and they're connected to social media. It defines them. Where there wasn't even the internet when I was a kid. I didn't get the internet till I was a junior in college, and it was very limited. It was dial up, and there weren't cell phones. People are on their phones. So what is it, how their status is very important to them. It's social media is the rock bed of how they're really raised. And so how do you navigate that? Meaning they're looking outward instead of inward for a lot of their answers, and that's not the answer to anything. Inward is the answer. You need to look inward for as I know you know this. So how do you get them to do that? How do you get them to, you know, are they saying to you, well, you don't understand because you're not my age and you're not, do you guys get that? Or,
I've never gotten that.
oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I've never gotten that from a client.
Okay.
And I would venture to say my coaches haven't either. I can't speak for them, but the framework that we use, so
Hmm.
we have workbooks, and
Oh, great. You do. Okay.
yeah, we will use the workbook in pretty much every session, and
Uh-huh.
we start with the activity. And the reason
Okay.
for that is to, prep and frame the rest of the hour. So
Yeah.
we'll spend anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes on this activity, and then we will ask them questions, probing questions, powerful questions around how that applies to their own life. So we don't really have to go too much in uh, we don't really have to worry too much about how we're being received because we're pushing them inward through
Got it. Through
our
your workbook.
methodologies. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
pushing
yeah.
them inward, and oftentimes the feedback we get is, "Wow, I never thought about it like that," or
Oh,
"Nobody's ever asked me that," or "I thought I knew my values, but after going through the values exercise and coming up with my 5 core values and then
yeah,
defining them myself, I don't care what the dictionary says.
yeah,
What does success mean to you?"
yeah,
Then they get their own like set of rules, their like mini playbook, and I can ask them questions based on what I already know about them, now
yeah.
the values that I understand about them, and what they plan to use those values on in between now and the next time we meet.
Mhm.
So it's very self-focused, and for
Yeah,
young people, this is where they live. And where you had mentioned, like they're looking for a lot of external validation, they're looking to experts for all of the answers. Once they start to learn that the answers live within them, they
yeah,
really start to look forward to our sessions together
yeah,
because it's
true.
all
Well,
about them. And parents are always saying, my teenager is so selfish. Well, they're supposed to be. That, like,
yeah,
physiologically, biologically, they are wired to fly from the nest. And if
yes.
they're not selfish and they're not trying to figure things out on their own and they're not trying to push you away, you might have a permanent resident on your hands. You want them to develop those skills to go off on their own. And unfortunately, that also includes a little risk taking. So
Yeah.
we always bring it back to values. That
Hmm.
decision you made that created that result, how did your values show up in it?
Hmm.
Where were your weaknesses in it? And what are you going to do different next time? So creating that framework, that way of self-reflecting becomes their inner dialogue over time. And we
Yeah.
go away and now they're left with their own internal coach
Yeah.
and self-accountability
Yes.
framework.
Yeah.
So
How
not a whole lot of you don't understand me because I'm not trying to understand you. I'm trying to help you understand yourself.
yourself. Exactly. So when you're doing the mentorship program, who are you pairing them up with? Obviously, it's a mentor, but is it a mentor that like for maybe in what they might want to do for a living when they get out of school or like how are you pairing that?
So the mentorship program is done in small groups inside of
Okay.
youth serving organizations, and it can be anyone who's gone through our virtual training. So we
Okay.
teach them to use our mentorship program as the guide through a coaching approach.
Mm.
So don't do the heavy lifting for them, ask them the questions so they do the heavy lifting.
Hmm.
You want to build the confidence, the self esteem, the competence within them through these activities, questions, journal prompts, whatever it is we're focusing on that week. So we train the mentors to be more of a coach without
Mm.
like officially certifying them as a coach because it is a much shorter program than a coaching certification program.
Sure. Sure. And
Yeah,
how many coaches do you say you have working underneath you?
at 12.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of them. And you keep all 12 busy all the time?
Not all the time.
I was gonna say, yeah,
They're
that would take.
contracted, but we have some that have wait lists. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's great. How are you finding your clients now? Is it all word of mouth or how, other than Facebook or
The majority of it is word of mouth, but we're starting to do some pretty aggressive marketing in 2026.
good for you?
We can elevate that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you and I spoke on your intro call. You were contemplating either creating a foundation or going through one to sponsor have you looked into that at all? For people that can't afford to pay,
Right.
the people that probably need it the most. Not the most, everyone needs it, but certainly need it. Like you needed it, like I
Some
needed
of
it.
our youth who are underserved,
Yeah,
under-resourced,
yeah,
however you want to frame that,
yeah.
that is exactly why the mentorship program
Oh,
exists
oh,
because a local school district can buy into it at a very, very affordable price. And they can use the community or their behavior specialists, or they can turn it into a class. It doesn't have to be done in a mentorship it doesn't have to be done in a specific way. They could turn it into a class, a club, after school, before school, whatever they want to do with it.
oh, cool. So there are schools that hire you, like they put it into their budget.
They would, yes, yeah, they
Oh,
purchase the license, and each subsequent school within the district would pay a smaller fee to have access to it.
wow. Now, are you servicing anywhere other than Florida, or is it just in your local area that you're around?
Well, right now the mentorship program is being piloted in South Carolina,
Oh, it's
in
in
my,
South Carolina. Okay.
yeah, in my old school district.
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
You're giving back to them. That's awesome. So it's piloted also in Florida or only in South Carolina?
Only in South Carolina right
Oh,
now.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so wow. So then who's monitoring it from there if you're here, if you're in Florida?
I go there every month.
Oh, wow.
And I
That's
meet with the people who are doing it. They have about 5 different counselors, behavior specialists,
hmm.
and I do believe a classroom teacher as well who are facilitating the groups. They have about 75 kids enrolled in the program.
Wow, that's a lot. That's great.
Mhm.
It's a great start for the pilot.
Yeah.
What, you show the results for that pilot, you can get funding for that too. If you haven't looked into that,
Yep.
I've got a grant writer that I met through these calls that I'm learning a lot about the grant writing process right now for my foundation. But and that's great that you're doing that. Now, have you put your own kids through this program?
Yeah. Yeah. They have been through multiple versions of it. They've been through summer camps, groups,
Oh,
and they
you have
get,
summer camps?
we have, yeah, we've done them.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So they go, what they go and stay. away from home for a week or something like that? That type of camp?
No, it's not
Oh,
a sleepaway camp, but
uh-huh.
it's like a day camp. And we've done life skills, like we've taught things like cooking and budgeting, financial
Oh,
literacy
that's so smart.
around all of these other things so that
Yeah.
they're really, picking up solid young adult skills.
Oh, that's so smart. You teach them financial literacy. So you teach
Yep.
them how to, because, they'll teach about Columbus, but they never taught me how to balance a checkbook, things that you're going to have to do in real life. They
Uh,
just taught me a bunch of stuff I memorized, spit it out, and then never remembered it again. That's what school is, at least the way I was taught, even in college too. Just wrote some papers. I don't remember any of that stuff.
yeah. Yeah, it was a very expensive experience, right?
Yeah, extremely. Yeah. I mean, I was on scholarship, but it was still, I mean, it was a small private school, but yeah, but my point is, none of it, I learned everything on the job, when I got my first job in Chicago. That's when I came to Chicago. So it was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's another podcast talking about how they teach in the format that they teach in.
Yep.
I don't find it to prepare people for jobs at all. Um, Now, are you helping? That's great that you're doing that. Okay, so then do you deal with kids all the way into their 20s and like 20?
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. College and post college. So
Uh-huh.
up until their early 30s, even.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long has your program been around? Did you start it in 2020, 2021?
2020.
Oh,
Mhm.
so you're 6 years. So then do you still speak with some of the clients that you started with in 2020?
I do. Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great.
It's really great.
Yeah, that is. Do you talk about like, well, because kids are growing up so much faster these days and they have access to all information. Like, is like sex education brought into this or preparing about those topics?
We don't,
Relationships?
no, not so much. I mean, sometimes romantic relationships, when we're talking about relationship dynamics and getting better at handling relationships, but we
Yeah.
don't we don't get into things that parents should be having conversations
Okay.
on. So that would include like religion, politics, sex education, or sexuality. We don't really. We're here to help you with your mindset and to get clear and to get some action behind that clarity.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Going down those roads is, I'm just wondering if people brought it up to you. If they were like, I want to talk about this, then you're trying to like, let's stick
Yep.
to the goals, kind of guide them.
It's been brought up and then we navigate around it.
Yeah. Do- Is it ever brought up to you, like kids that are going, they confide in you that they're being abused or any of those types of situations come up?
I have not had that, but I
Okay.
have had to, I'm a mandated reporter, so I have had to report on some things in the
Oh,
past around self harm.
oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, so you're obligated to report. I mean, I'd want you to anyway, but yeah,
Yep.
you're obligated to report
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, obligated for anything that could look like abuse, neglect, self harm, harm of others, certain types of activity. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've helped thousands of families. So then where do you see this going the next couple of years? Like what's your big plan over the next 2 to 3 years, would you say, with your program? I mean, you've got the mentoring program that you just started with 75 people in,
Mhm.
which is a lot, by the way. That's a lot to start something. Do you see that expanding or where do you see this going?
I mean, the ultimate goal, so I
Uh-huh.
can't, 2 to 3 years, I'm not really focused on. I'm more on the 5 or 10 year vision
Oh yeah, please tell me that. Mhm.
is to become a nationwide household name for teen and young adult development.
Oh wow.
That
So
has been,
you really want to expand this.
yes, I feel passionate about the fact that young people need this. It's a fact. They need this. They need to know who they are. If they don't know who they are, then they're very easily led and strung along by others, which, that's how you get into gang violence and dealing drugs. It's also how you get into a career you hate. You're 60 years old and you're wondering how you got there and you can't back out,
Yeah.
right? So when we don't know who we are, we find ourselves in situations that we don't want to be in. And I feel like, or I know that the education system isn't providing that. To your remark earlier, they're teaching you things that you never really use, nor do you remember.
Mhm.
Um, so, at a minimum, this program should be available in every public school across the nation.
Absolutely, it should.
Yeah.
And if you're giving it to them at a reasonable price, which you were stating, the schools, um, it's that they should absolutely do that. And so, how do you even go about talking to these other schools and these other? It's such a broad. I mean, it's such a big,
Yeah.
task. Where do you start? What do you do?
Well, I haven't done it yet, but you start at
Uh-huh.
educational conferences. You
Oh, okay.
and the decision makers, one of the largest ones is here in Orlando, actually. They come in
Hmm.
from all over the country. They go to multiple workshops. They get keynotes. They learn about different um, technologies coming down the pipeline in education. And then there's tons of vendors there selling their software or their services or their products. So you start there,
Hmm.
then you just get as many keynotes as possible. You write a book. Definitely need to do that. I have a couple of those in my pipeline right now.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
You
Hmm.
just have to position yourself as the expert
Expert.
and as the person with the solution. So, from a marketing standpoint, that's what I'm working on.
Good for
But
you.
then there's a whole lot of networking and relational things. I've had
Yeah.
a number of conversations with districts in
Okay.
Illinois and out in Chicago and outside the Chicago area.
Have you in Chicago? My
Yep,
stomping grounds?
yep.
Does that mean you're coming here?
I'd love to. I haven't had any conversations this year since I launched the mentorship program. So I want to get all that data collected, all the marketing around it, and then call those people back up and see
Chicago
how
needs what you're doing desperately. The
Yep.
inner city's here. You can link up with my foundation too. I mean, there's ways I can talk to you about that to help the youth. I can
Yeah.
have you come in and the grant once I'm getting grant funding, you know, to come talk to the teenagers. I didn't even think about that until just now, Jessica. Linking up with you as I build my foundation this year, in Chicago. That would be something that I would definitely. Have you ever been to Chicago, by the way?
Many times.
Oh, that's cool. Well, do you have family up here?
No.
Oh, you just
I
visit.
well, I traveled up there with Illinois Association of Behavioral Health. They
Oh,
contracted
okay.
me to come up and do a keynote a couple years back
Oh, cool.
in at like Chicago or like Illinois State University South Campus or something,
Oh, cool.
something there. And then I was
Yeah.
involved with a number of different organizations from that. Every time I do a keynote, I get some other opportunity. So I got linked in with several of the districts, which, yeah, I need to fire those back up when I'm ready. And I have my landing page and I have all my collateral and everything ready.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I would definitely want to talk with you in regards to that later, about reaching the youth in my organization as I build that in this coming year. I'll start get grant funding probably June to August, and then I can start really developing the community programs. I have a housing one and a community one, so I would want you for the community one.
Beautiful.
Um,
You know,
yeah, but
housing developments are really great to do programs like this as well because it's I see the program as being foundational to anyone who's going to be making life change. Anybody who wants to be making decisions that require trajectory, right? And so folks who are living in low income or government
mhm,
subsidized
yeah,
housing, they need mentorship, they need guidance, they need
yeah,
legacy change, both financially and likely, on the trauma side. So
yeah.
there's a
The
lot of
parents need it too,
that.
not just the teenagers, because what we
Yes.
found last year in some of the events I did, even when we were teaching nutrition to the kids, something they weren't being taught at home, if it's not supported by the parents and they're not educated, then they get backlash when they get home because it's different than the way they were raised. And so I'm learning that we need to be educating the parents just as much, which is what I'm going to be doing as well, not just the kids. I'm really looking forward to that over the next 2 to 3 years, really building my foundation. There's so much work that needs to be done here. So many underprivileged people on the south and west sides of Chicago. And if they don't have a positive place to go and don't believe in themselves, that gang life is is it's not forgiving. And that's where most of the murders come from, by the way, is from the
Mhm.
gang warfare. Um, and it's a misnomer. People think it's some really unsafe place. It's not. If you're not in a gang, they don't care about you. It's gangs fighting each other. It's all internal inside these neighborhoods, And so you got to get in there and but you got to solve it from the inside out.
Yeah.
You've got to solve the leaders in those communities. It's not, you can't look outward. You've got to look inward, the people in these communities. You can't put a Band-Aid on it and just throw money at something. You have to educate the people and empower them, just like you're doing.
Yeah.
All answers come from within. And that's why I think it's so great that you're doing what you're doing. And I think it's great that you also talk to the parents too. So you do talk to the parents along with the students.
So the parents aren't part of the sessions or the programs, but
Uh-huh.
we do send weekly emails with a recap of what we're focusing on with their young person. And then
Okay.
we give them ways to engage, like over dinner talk or different topics
Oh, good.
that they can use to get closer. Because the whole idea is we want to enjoy the teenage years, and it can be very difficult and sometimes even dividing when you're raising your teenager. It's us versus them sort of
Yeah.
thing. So giving them, arming them with a partnership approach versus a parenting approach with some of the things we're working on
Hmm.
with their young person helps to elevate and allow that to be a more enjoyable time for them versus you need to go and study for your stuff. We got that covered. We've already talked to your team. They know what they need to do.
Hmm.
And if they're not getting the results they're not getting in their life, it's because of their choices. So we kind of take that burden off the parent so the parent can enjoy the time and
That they
connect
have with the kids.
and
Yeah.
connect more. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. It's a really great idea. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of what you're building, Jess. It's
Oh, thank
great.
you.
It's really important. How do people find you? How do they reach you? Can't believe we're already on this for almost 50 minutes. How time flies when I'm talking to you. How, um, how do they find you? How does everyone find you?
Well, typically they see me at the local coffee shop.
Hmm.
But that aside, they can come to highlightcoaching.com, which is spelled phonetically. It's HILITE coaching.com if you want to learn more about the services. Or you can find me on Instagram or my business on Instagram. I'm Coach Jessica Villegas, Villegas, or you can find Highlight Youth Programs on Instagram and Facebook.
That's great. Keep up the great work with what you're doing. And I mean, when I say is I'm getting funding this year because we're going to know each other through this group, obviously. It's only the
Yep.
start of knowing each other. And I very much want to talk to you about this program as I get my community funding. Uh,
Okay.
talk
And I
coming.
can dig back into my district contacts and uh,
Absolutely. And we can attack those places together too, because
yeah,
I can go to those places with you. The districts, if it's being backed by a foundation that helps. And I can also talk to other people foundations that are trying to start down this path too. I'm linking up with my relationships with other foundation people because unfortunately there's a lot of people that claim they're a foundation and they're just doing it for the money, and they're not doing a lot to help, for the grant money, and they pay themselves a large salary and then they don't really do anything for the programs. So unfortunately, I've run into that already. Um, and so I've got to be careful as I navigate because I'm a really honest, warm guy, and so I got to navigate people not with not really the best intentions. They see me as a gullible fish ways away,
I
from
I
far
have
away.
gotten that time and time again.
Yes, you know what
It's
I'm talking
tough.
about.
Yes.
Got to make sure people have the true intent behind what they're doing. Um, and I do. We're for-profit people. I'm for-profit too, but but there needs to be an actual service you're providing that you can't lose sight of that. Uh,
Right.
well, I'm really proud of you, Jessica. I think you're doing a great job. I wish I could talk to you longer, but I want people to actually watch the podcast. If it's too long, they won't.
We'll
And I
be
want
doing that then.
and I want you're going to be talking. I want you in the coming months to be talking to the group about what you do too, because in case they
Okay.
have teenagers that need help. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here for that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for being so honest with everything that you spoke about. You did a
Thank
great job.
you.
Very
It was a
informative.
pleasure.
You did a
Yeah.
great job.
An
I
honor.
wish you continued success, and I'll see you on Wednesday whenever you have time.
Yes, you will.
All right. Have a
All
good
right.
one, hon. Take
Thank
care.